Complaining about it on Brian. Her cause of distress was he looked at her dress. He denied it, but he was lying. Brian, when I first came, I was like Caldwell. I don't know why they gave me this. I really don't need it. But when we first came to Caldwell, I was a young teacher, you were a young teacher, now we're old and decrepit, but still teaching. It was interesting. Brian's nickname at the time was the Dictator.
Given to me by Steve.
And well-deserved, I may say. Our divisional chair meetings, or divisional meetings, I should say, Brian was the chair, ran like clockwork, and forever. We never could quite get to the next item on the agenda because there was always something to qualify. And we were real glad when he finally stepped down. We liked Craig better because his meetings were, you're all here. Anything to discuss? Bye. And then we head over to whatever bar happened to be closest or on the way home at the time. We do have a lot of people who want to speak. And I'm really behaving myself because, Mom, you're here. True enough. Well, I did want to say to you personally that we never really believed all the stories Brian told us about all his siblings. Okay, the ex-cons, transgender, schizophrenic, and I can go on. We never really believed any of those. Well, maybe some of the younger ones did, but we knew better. Oh, good. Hey, Susie. Anyway.
I lived with before I married Lila.
And you were wise to get out when you could. Anyway, so first on our hit list here is somebody called Sister, and it's either Brian's sister or nun. I don't see any nuns. Do we have a sister who's speaking? Oh, come on up. Oh, and I don't feel too bad telling dirty words because Rick Miles is here.
My sister Susan was supposed to be here today, but she had an operation a couple of weeks ago and isn't feeling up to it. So she asked me if I could read this poem, and in keeping with the rules, it's in verse. So it's called The Train of Life. And it's the story of the little engine that could, and did without regret, and does with confidence, and will without fear. It's a storybook about Brian, but it is called The Train of Life, and you can also look at it afterwards. And it's the train of life. Some folks ride a train of life just looking out the rear, watching miles of life go by and marking every year. They sit in sad remembrance or wasted days gone by. They curse their lives for what could have been and hang their heads and cry. But Brian doesn't concern himself with that. He's taking a different bent. Brian's looking forward to what life holds and not only what has been spent. So strap Brian to the engine as securely as can be. Brian wants to be up front to see what he can see. He wants to feel the winds of change blowing in his face. Brian wants to see what life unfolds as he moves from place to place. He wants to see what's coming up, not just looking at the past. Life's too short for yesterday. It moves along too fast. So if the ride gets bumpy while you're looking back, Brian, go up front and you may find your life has jumped the track. It's all right to remember, that's part of history. But what's up front, where it's happening, there's so much history. The enjoyment of living is not only where you've been, it's looking ever forward to another year or 10, or 10, or 10, or 10. It's searching all the byways. Never should you refrain. If you want to live the retired life, you've got to drive the train.